Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about key concepts in the web API. In the earlier project, we have seen about how we can create a sample project, so a web API project, and what all options we can configure while creating a sample web API project. But in this video, we will talk about the key concepts that are involved in a web API, or we constantly hear about those terms, right? So the first one is the client. So what is client in a web API? Whoever requests the data from the application that we created, those are clients. So whoever is requesting that information is the client. And coming to program.cs, program.cs, it's a where your application starts, and all the important configurations like middleware registrations, dependency injections, and routings, and all those things that your application needs to run, everything goes into program.cs. Next, moving on to and action methods, the core logic, the business logic of your application sets and controllers and action methods. Controller is nothing but a class in C sharp, and action methods are basically your methods wherein you write your business logic, and each of these action methods can be related to of a http verbs like get, put, post, delete, and patch. We will talk in detail about all this, and we will also code all these action methods in the next video. But just at a high level, controller is a class, and controller has action methods wherein you write all your business logic needed for your application. Next, coming to routing. Routing is basically a concept where or which tells how to route your URL to the appropriate controller and action methods. In the web API, we would be using attribute based routing. Okay, and we will also see how we can configure that routing in my application, right? And then coming to middleware. So what is middleware? Middleware, again, you can think of it as code which gets executed for every request and for every response, and this is the code that gets executed even before the request hits my controller and action method. And very important things we handle in middleware examples can be authentication, authorization, and also your global exception handler. All things you will put it in the middleware. So as I said, every request that comes in will go into middleware, and every response that goes out of my application will go into the middleware, right? And so middleware basically it'll modify the request. It'll pass the request to the next middleware. So middlewares can be chained, and it'll bypass the request, which means like it can stop the request going from the next middleware, or it can completely uh, uh, send the response back from the middleware itself if some conditions are not meeting, right? So all these things can be done in middleware, and also can change the response that we send back from our API, right? And we will also see writing our custom middlewares and how this all this can be configured in my application in the next video. Uh, Next, app setting.json is where you write all your configuration related things, and this app setting JSON can have, for example, details like the connection string, right? And this can be having environment specific app settings also. So app settings.development.json, app settings.staging.json, app settings.protection.json. You can have this environment specific app settings, and you can put your information there, right? And then moving on to entity framework core. Entity framework core helps us to handle SQL or connect to SQL without writing SQL queries explicitly. Rather, it'll using this you can actually handle SQL using LinkU. And what difference it has with ADO.NET? In ADO.NET, there's a lot of code that you will have to write for opening the connection, for writing SQL queries and all those. But entity framework core adapts or gives that added advantage of it handles all that internally, and you can write link you directly, no need to learn SQL as well, because entity framework core will handle that in the backend for you guys. So we will also write code using this HTTP status code. So HTTP status code is something that the server returns back to the client or the calling application in the response, indicating what is the status of the request. And this can be there can be various HTTP status codes, like the codes that starts with one basically tells that it's an informational, and something which starts with two, like 200, right, it says that it's a success, the request is successful. And then you'll have something like starts with 4, it says there's an error, client error, right, and which starts with 5, it says like it's a server error, like you would basically see 500, right, that's an internal server error, which means that while processing the request, server has gone into some exception. So all of the status codes indicate the status of a request, right? And we will talk about each of these concepts in detail in the code while we are doing it in our next video. So all this we will learn programmatically in my subsequent section. So that's all for this video, and thank you for watching, and please do subscribe.